Welcome back to our Dream in the Woods. Today, or the next couple days here, working on still doing some more groundwork, trying to get the water system up and running and get it all the electrical conduit laid and inspected, and then fill in all the dirt so we can move on to the next phase of this project. Well, I came from work and Eric's been out here working. So that's the electrical conduit. And the electrical conduit in means that water pipe is in. So we have the tracer wire on there, and that's the blue wire. This is the compression fitting that we've already installed. Just your standard T, and this one has got a cap on it. And then about a 12 or 14 inch copper tube out, and then two fittings there, and we've talked about that fitting being able to twist two different dimensions, so that's less likely to break if the hydrant gets pushed one way or the other, and it should enable us to plumb it up when we're doing it. So that's what that looks like. Next is to install the frost free and get it set. So going good. So Eric is putting Teflon tape and then dope on that male fitting there. And then the one other thing I did that was suggested on the frost free, I'll show you over here, was I added this piece right here. That's where the water drains out of the pipe that makes it a frost free. And by putting that 90-degree, so the water will drain down and then less likely for that to plug up. I guess that's the most common thing that will fail, is that getting plugged up. So anyway, that's what I did. So that's a little bit of dirt on there, but that's the finished product. And we spun it till it was all the way on, and that's where it oriented. So we're going to leave it just the way it is. I'm happy with it. And it's just inside the row of trees, so it should be out of the way. It's kind of the idea. So we're not going to bury that quite yet because we want to pressure the system up and just kind of look at all these fittings. So we're going to leave it like that for the moment. All right, we put the other valve on over the slab. So we're going to test this out. Turn that frost free off. Come over here to the panel. All right, well pump. You ready?
Yep.
See what happens with that. This is doing something, so that's good.
Did you hear it turn on?
I heard the box here turn on.
There we go.
I hear power.
We're getting pressure.
Okay. Come down here and look at this frost free. I can hear water here at the T. This probably has air in the system right here. Seems like a lot of water.
Yeah, and that's pretty clean now. A little bit of dirt came out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, now I'll try the frost free. Okay, water at the frost free. See what happens here. Well, that didn't take very long.
Nope.
Seems good.
Seems real good.
All right, success.
One more over here.
All right. Good water all 3 locations. It is a bit rainy right now, so it might be a little hard. If there's a big leak, we would have seen it already. But that's awesome. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Water.
Yeah.
Water just needs to be buried. Well, we'll leave it pressured up here for a couple of days and just make sure there's no leaks, but in my opinion, we're ready to bury. All right, this is the first inspection of the first water joint. We had about, half an inch of rain in the last 24 hours, so that looks good down there to me. I call that fine. Next joint to look at, be over here. You can see the puddles that we have. And I think it would be pretty hard to tell if there was a tiny leak, but that all looks good on that joint. There's plenty of water in the bottom of this trench from rain, but I'd say that joint there looks fine to me also. Ideally, we would have dry weather and I could tell if there's even a drop in there, but I think I can still tell. The last joint would be over there where it enters the barn house. Let's go take a look at that. I'm gonna get a 1 1/4 inch stop or end cap for that, just to keep the dirt and grime out of it. But I'd say everything looks good. So what's next? So I already called for the inspector to come look at this conduit pipe, but it's not ready, and he's coming today. So that's the first order of business. I need to splice the 3 tracer wires together in the bottom of the trench there, and I have a nice nut and then a waterproof connector that has that silicone down in there. So I'll splice those together with that and then fill that in with a little sand and then put enough material in there to support that pipe so it looks bedded. And then the other thing I need to do before he gets here is bed this frost free with some sand and raise that up about a foot or so, and then bring this conduit, extend that over and maybe possibly past that hydrant. So then when it's inspected, then I can put back all this material, and hopefully by the end of today we'll have everything filled in. So we're not worrying about compacting these trenches. They're not part of the driveway, and there'll be lots of vehicles and equipment running over everything, and then we'll do a final grade when we're ready for that, but that's a long ways out. So let's get to it. Yeah, I've been working away here this morning. So I got the T covered and then that pipe bedded in there. Happy with the way that looks. And then a few other spots, just kind of bedding that pipe so it's looks good and for the inspection. And then this is filled in here. Feel like that looks good. The electrical conduit is about 36 inches down. So looks that go right. And then this is just where it's going to deadhead out of the ground, so nothing special there. I did have a section of Schedule 80, so that's that piece there coming out of the ground. But in the end, that'll all get replaced. This is just pipe for a future project if that project ends up happening. Just while we have everything tore up, we might as well put water over here and then run the electrical conduit. So talked to electrical inspector and he said just to text him some pictures. So I just did that, and so once I kind of get the okay from him, then I can fill this in, which will take care of all this piles of soil and trenches. In the meantime, I can fill this hole in. Confident of that joint. It looks good, nice and dry down there. And so I'm going to bed that in some sand and then kind of bring this elevation up, being careful about that conduit. I'll probably put some sand around that also. And filling this hole back in would be a good project complete. Well, we have logs. Looks like 14. These were all salvage logs out of a fire from last summer in Elk, Washington, just over the border, kind of between here and Spokane, Washington. And I knew they'd be charred, and I got a deal on them. I'm paying about a third or more less for the char than I am the next load of logs that it's coming. So 14 logs here. There is one white fir in here, which is this log here. The rest are Doug fir. So, and the logging truck driver said he saw that that was a fir, and so he grabbed an extra Doug fir just to make up for it, which I think is that log there. So anyway, lots of good straight pieces in there. These are mainly 25s and a few 16s in there. So over 4,000 board feet in this deck now. Back in business. So before everyone starts commenting that, oh, charred logs, that black, all that kind of stuff, I know. And the logger told me, he has a sawmill, says if you put those on your sawmill, and it'll bring that black with the blade across your cut. So I know that. Either gonna have to debark these or debark them partially. So that's gonna add to the labor to them. I think some of the bark is starting to slough, but that definitely needs to happen. I also plan on, I have a big hand planer that I'm going to plane all these timbers with, and I'm wondering if there is a little black, that'll just clean that up. So that'll be something to try out. I also bought a log wizard. I just haven't put it together. That's an attachment that goes into the chainsaw and debarks and such. So yes, I know that black is going to be a little bit of a problem, but I think the logs look good. They're quality trees, and they'll be very good timber. They were cut this winter, and of course that fire killed all those trees last summer. So anyway, let me know what you think and what I should do with that char, and any ideas are welcome. All right, pretty happy with this. I think there will be some settling in there, but that's okay. We got lots of final grading to do around here, so just nice to have the hole filled in. And on this Pipe here, I just put some softer sand, softer material on the pipe. Made sure there wasn't any sharp rocks or anything all the way down, so now I can start the task of filling this in. That'll feel good. Have this project pretty well complete. Let's get to it. Well, my camera batteries ran out, but I was able to get this filled in. It's a little bit crowned, which I think is fine. That skid steer just doesn't do that good a job of cleaning up, or I'm not that good of just leveling things out perfectly. But Eric's good at it in the backhoe, so we'll let him do it at some point. Real happy with how this placement ended up being, kind of at the edge of the forest, and then the electrical conduit is kind of deadheaded in the back here where it's out of the way. So yeah, lots of surface area back up for grabs here, so that's nice. Next up on my agenda is getting those sonotubes placed and get the concrete poured for those 4 on the north end of the barn. That's high on the priority list. And then getting that where the gravel is, where the concrete needs to go, that needs to get down to grade. Get the forms in and kind of get it to the point where I can have the plumber come in and do the groundwork. I also need to cut the concrete, existing concrete. I need to cut 2 spots there to put plumbing in, so that's on my agenda too. After this coming weekend, I'll have more days off. I'm gonna work 2 to 3 days a week instead of working 4 days a week, so that should give me more time. And the push to get the concrete poured is on the top of my mind right now. So, and then when we're not doing that, we'll have logs here to mill and try to finish up that last part of the timber cut list. So anyway, lots going on. Appreciate everyone watching. You guys have a good day wherever you're watching. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and we'll catch you with the next